Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to PSGL for one of the final three races of round two. Tomorrow night, you've got Formula Performance. Tonight, as well as F1, you've got myself, Luke Etheridge, and Sam Thompson taking you through the action from the F3 League. Round two of the season around the Hungaroring. It is the Hungarian Grand Prix. If you weren't with us last week for the Austrian Grand Prix, it was a very exciting race, lots of battles throughout the field, lots of different strategies because of safety cars, and in the end it was Carlsberg and the McLaren who took the win. He took 16 points for the victory. Lars in second, although he might struggle to reach that level today, and we'll talk a bit why later on. Cherry Tupai in third place, and it's great, Sam, round two of the season, we've got ourselves a full grid.
Good evening, Luke, and good evening, everyone. And yes, we do have a full grid stacked with drivers all going to be very close, battling it out for, of course, pole position tonight. I am doing very well tonight, and I cannot wait to get this race underway and get qualifying underway, of course, as well.
Yeah, qualifying is very important around the Hungaroring. Quite a few of the drivers in real life F1 sort of have described it as Monaco without the barriers, and you will have just seen Cyril and Lars there have retired from the session. The reason for that is they both have qualifying bans. Both Haas drivers actually have qualifying bans, so expect to see Jesper Barneveld retiring soon as well. Cyril has a qualifying ban and a 5-second penalty to be added onto his race time. Jesper has a 10-second penalty as well as a qualifying ban. That is for retiring on purpose during the last race in Austria. Lars' qualifying ban is for blocking Jesper Barneveld in qualifying last time around. So definitely not ideal around such a twisty circuit to have that qualifying ban. They're going to have to fight from right at the back of the grid, probably hoping for a safety car in the early stages to maybe help them.
Well, it's definitely not a track which you don't really see many overtaking around this track. So if they're going to make the moves, they'll need to make it really at turn 1 and turn 3. They're the main places to make the moves. But also, like you said, it's the place where you don't want to get a qualifying ban. And, you know, after a track like Austria where it's very open, there's a lot more overtakes. This is a completely different circuit. It's got so much different characteristics. And like you said, drivers in real life and even people on this game describe it like with Monaco without the barriers. And I mean, I could agree with that full-heartedly, because, well, simply with the circuit, it's very tight, and obviously if you set the 2, you've got to have so much focus and concentration, because there's a left-right everywhere. It's just corner after corner, and you're going so quickly through there as well. And Jesper has retired there finally, but yeah, everyone hopefully getting the best out of their qualifying tonight, and qualifying is going to be super important. And for those who've got qualifying bans, they've got a lot to make up in the race, and it's not easy at all around this track.
No, it's not. We are on board then with Cherry Tupai. Got a podium last time around, as he did in the pre-season race, and qualifying hasn't been his forte so far this season. So we'll see how he does on this lap. Coming up to the end of Sector 1, slightly as you come through Turn 4, very easy to lose it through there. Then you've got the long right-hander at Turn 5, heading towards the chicane of 6 and 7, and then, as Sam just mentioned, this very twisty middle part of the lap, left, right. Need to keep the momentum up, need to keep it nice and smooth through here. Don't want to make any mistakes. If you're cooking your tyres as well, you'll be in big problems in that middle sector. Lap through 11. This is where the track was changed after the 2002 season to add this right-hander in at 12. Then a long 180-degree left-hander at turn 13. You'll see the pit entry on the right-hand side. Final corner, just about keeping it nice and smooth, keeping the momentum up, getting as close to that pit wall as you dare, as you saw Cherry Tupai do then. And on the soft tyres, it's a 1:13.624. Fastest time at the moment is Lonely with a 1:13.161. Now, we didn't see Lonely last week, and that's not a bad time for a first run in this session.
Yeah, Loney would be one of the drivers, including Team 1000's attack, and perhaps eclipse those in the top 3, who would have probably thought that they could be competing in F2, but they haven't been placed in F3 because of how close it is. And well, Black Phoenix there as well, going into the top 3, and now Carlsberg replacing them. But a lot of these drivers would be thinking, yeah, well, let's just get a good start. And we haven't seen Zach and Loney, and they've already locked out the front row as of yet, so it's a good start for these two here in F3, and if they can keep this up, maybe they can challenge for the championship despite missing one of the first round of the season.
Yes, still obviously plenty of rounds to go this season. 14 in total, starting now, ending in Brazil, heading towards Christmas. That race, Fruitful, goes up into 8th place. He does have a new teammate tonight, Vandenberg, who was a reserve in the Ferrari last time around. He's now a full-time AlphaTauri driver, replacing Hype, who has pulled out because of some of the connection issues that he had last race. And AlphaTauri yet to get a point, which was surprising because Fruitful and Hype were very good in qualifying last time around, just really didn't come together in the race for them. So we know, Fruitful especially, we know he's got pace. He'll be another driver, hoping that he can get a clean race tonight.
Yeah, Fruitful, not really the best lap so far, a 13.8, a good lap, of course, to start off with. It's a good banker, but he's still miles off the pace compared to Lonnie on pole position, which Fruitful would be eyeing up this week. And like you said, the AlphaTauris last week, they had the pace in qualified, both of them did. In the race, Fruitful definitely had the pace, and he was probably on set for winning the race, but he just had so much issues with the car, with the puncture he got, of course. He spun the car, I think, once or twice, and he just didn't really keep out of trouble, and unfortunately that's led for him not getting any points. As for Hypes, he just had no race pace compared to his quali pace in the end, so that really tore him down the grid quite quickly in the race, and obviously then he just couldn't gain the positions back. So AlphaTauri would be wanting a much better week this week, and with Svenderberg, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but we're hoping that the new teammate can provide the bits like Fruitful did in the first race.
Yeah, I mean, Vandenberg did have a reasonable race, to be honest. Was sort of off the back of the midfield, but managed to finish in 11th place. We're now looking at Toxic, about to set his first lap. No longer TTG Toxic, he's now Toxic _ MML, and just running a bit wide there through sector 2, corner 6 and 7. That chicane ran over the curb. That will have cost him a good chunk of time, probably about 2 or 3 attempts at least lost through there, pushing as hard as possible. He finished way down in 12th, which was surprising because, again, he's another driver that has shown good pace in the pre-season race and in qualifying in Austria, so we'll see how he does around this Hungarian circuit. First used in Formula 1 in 1986, 4.381 kilometres long, so that's about 2.723 miles, and that's definitely not the best line through that corner. Stayed as a validated lap, but 10th position for now. Definitely made a few mistakes on that lap. Could possibly even push up to where his teammate is in 3rd if he'd have kept it clean.
I don't know what happened for the last corner. He just got a heckload of oversteer. I was about to say understeer, but it looked more like oversteer, like he corrected the car and had to go wide at that corner. I'm surprised he didn't get invalidated for that, and that was actually a valid lap time, but considering the mistakes he made, because also, like you said, in sector 2, through the chicane there, he went a bit over the curb, and that unsettled his car a lot. That's actually a decent lap for Toxic, considering what happened to him during that lap. And he'll come again, and I think he will come stronger in the future. So we better watch out for him. And like you said, the McLaren's starting rather well. Obviously, Kalsper winning the last race as well. So Toxic would want to be up there with his teammate. And I mean, he's done a 13.9 with the mistakes like that. Without the mistakes, he could definitely be up there fighting with Kalsper.
Yeah, most definitely. Obviously, you need a good team to win the Constructors' Championship. Renault leading that at the moment on 18 points. Renault were one of only 2 teams to get both cars in the points, and the other one was Racing Point. Here we are on board with Eclipse, who did finish in 10th position last time around. He's up in 5th at the moment in qualifying, so we'll see how he does on his second lap around this track, nearly at the halfway point in qualifying, and Loney and Zach still the top 2 for now, and Eclipse does move up in the end. He is now up into 3rd place, and once again we're looking like we're going to have an extremely close session. As Ginger, he's now in 4th place, Kalsper 5th. We've got the top 13 drivers separated by less than a second at the moment, and of course that includes 3 drivers having a qualifying ban and 3 other drivers yet to set a lap time.
Yeah, 3 drivers have got a qualifying ban. They'll be regretting what happened last week. Svenderberg goes off there on his outlap. Don't know what that was about. Decky on an outlap. He's about to set up for a lap, so we might have a look at him in a minute. If you're wondering why all the drivers are going much slower in their preparation towards the end, the tyre heat on this track is unbelievable. And if they are too hot, you'll get a serious sense of oversteer or understeer, depending on your setup on your lap towards the end. So these drivers have got to be very careful with their tyre temps on their outlaps.
Yeah, most definitely, mainly because that middle sector is so twisty. When you're getting towards the end of that, if you've cooked your tyres just a bit too much, you are going to be in big trouble, and that is where you will lose a lot of time. So we'll follow Jackie around then. Did a decent job as a reserve in the Mercedes last time around in 5th. He's now in the Ferrari tonight, replacing Super Mario, so we'll just see how he does. Got a bit of traffic ahead of him of one of the Williams, that is Bugatti, who we didn't get to see last time around, but we keep mentioning this. He is the reigning F2 champion, and he looks as though he's showing some good pace at the moment in 4th, or just over 10th in fact, behind Loney at this moment in time. It looks like Zach wasn't able to improve on his lap time in the other Ferrari, so we'll see what Decky can do on his first valid run, if he can keep it clean then around these final couple of corners, as Kalsper now goes fastest with a 1:13.109. Last week's pole sitter, last week's race winner, looks as though he's going to be trying to get 2 out of 2 this time around. Decky, probably not the best final corner, might have just gone a bit too deep, but managed to keep the momentum going. He is up into 11th place, and that could be very important, of course, because you do get fresh tyre choice if you start outside the top 10.
Well, he's in 11th right now. That is the best place to be if you think about tyre strategy. And we're seeing it also this week. A lot of Hungarian Grand Prix have rain, of course, in the race. It doesn't look like there's rain in this one so far, but if you're outside the top 10 and rain is coming, if there's rain that's coming towards the end, like we saw yesterday in F8, in fact, we saw that the guys outside the top 10 were at such an advantage because they were able to go onto the medium or the hard tyres, and that favoured better since they didn't have to make a pit stop, unlike the top 10 on softs who made a pit stop early and tried to make up ground there. Oh, Jesus. Koala there getting a little bit stuck there with, I think it was Eclipse there, or Calzo, one of the two. Must have been Eclipse, but like I said, the tyre strategy would be interesting if there is rain coming towards the end of this race, especially outside the top 10, who will probably not be starting on mediums or hard, who will not be starting on softs and probably on medium or hards. They'll be thinking strategy-wise, and it will be very difficult. It'll be very different in the race if that is the case.
Yeah, most definitely. That could always happen as Toxic. He said he's got some pace, looking like a McLaren 1-2 at the moment. He splits Kalsper and Loney. Didn't look like there'd be a lot of time to get in between them. Loney, I'm not sure if he's just saving fuel to maybe go on another run, as he's invalidated his current lap time. Not ideal for him. 5 minutes 45 remaining then. He's in third. The 2 McLarens ahead of him. Zach, Eclipse, Bugatti. Means just over 1.5 tenths of a second between the top 6 at the moment. Less than half a second separating the top 12. It looks like being another extremely close qualifying here in F3, as you would expect, with so many tiers, so many close drivers. Just go on board with Simply Rush for a bit there. He has invalidated this lap, currently on a 1:14.079, so he will just about have enough time to get round again and get another lap time done. And Sam, where would you say in qualifying that the most important corners are? We've got to make sure you get it right, otherwise it could probably ruin your lap.
Probably just the whole of Sector 2 is probably the most important place. It's such big flashes of corners, and obviously you've got to really make the chicane count in Sector 2. If you don't make that count, if you mount the curbs, you can get a lot of oversteer, which could really unsettle your car, and therefore your lap can technically be ruined there. You've got this very difficult sector as well just after it. The left, right, it just comes so quick, and obviously you've got to rake the cars through the corners. They're not easy corners to get by, and if you are running no line, maybe for the first time or something, you will possibly underestimate those corners as well in terms of how fast you can actually go through those corners. But yeah, Sector 2 is definitely the most important sector in my opinion, but let's not count out that Turn 5 and Turn 6 of course as well. Those are very difficult corners to get by as well.
Yeah, we just saw Koala, he invalidated his lap towards the end of that lap, so he's staying in 10th place for now. Eclipse heading back into the pit, said it's all got very quiet out on circuit all of a sudden. Most of the drivers in the pit lane, we have got Pit Matt, as I said earlier on, taking it very easy on and out lap. Simply Rush, he'll be heading into the pits as well, and this is going to be interesting with a lot of traffic. It's not the longest circuit in Formula 1 by any shadow of a doubt. You can see 73 seconds to do a lap time. It's going to get very, very tight out there to try and find space, and that could be important. We saw last week Lars getting a qualifying ban for blocking. if we've got all 17 cars heading out on track at once, they might have a similar situation.
And the Renault's opting to go out at the earliest, probably trying to clear it, but not gonna lie, this is actually a bit of a dilemma here for Pit Matt. If we do have someone in front, it could really ruin his lap, and being down in 15th is a huge risk for him as he now goes on to his lap. He's got a bunch of guys coming out of the pit, four drivers, in fact, which could hinder his lap if he's not careful. So he'll have to watch out for that, and hopefully these guys will do him a favour and move out the way. But you've got to think, these guys are going to be slow through Sector 2 to try and make sure that their tyres are down on temperature as much as possible for their lap.
Yeah, most certainly. Remember, Pit Matt can't use any of these guys to get a slipstream intentionally or unintentionally, because you will get in trouble with the stewards. That is banned this season in PSGL, and you can see he's already caught up.
He smacked the curb.
Yeah, really smacked the curb there.
Oh, I don't know. It's unsettled his car a bit. I'm sure he'll keep going, and he's completely unsettled it, and he's invalidated his lap. Then, when that happens, it's a huge confidence hit, really, when you hit that curb and your car's unsettled, because you know you've got a bunch of quick corners coming up after that, and you can't really make any mistakes from that. And yeah, his lap's over, unfortunately, but he's got time to go again, though, luckily, and it's the same for Cherry 2 Pie, as he almost loses the car there at turn 4. I got that mixed up. I was meant to say turn 4 and 5, but I said turn 5 and 6. But yeah, he will not be happy with that, Cherry 2 Pie, as he's got now, I believe, one of the racing points behind him.
Yeah, that's just Eclipse getting ready for his lap. So we are seeing a few drivers struggling with track limits here. Decky, he's on a hot lap. They are all, of course, this is going to be their final chance, really, to get a lap done. If they invalidate their laps now, they're going to struggle to get round in time and keep the tyres in a good enough condition to be able to get another hot lap done. Decky has improved in the first sector. You can just see him soaring at the wheel, though, as he gets through turn 4. Definitely not the fastest way to get around this circuit. He's got traffic Loney just ahead of him, taking the wise option of just hopping over that chicane. Very sensible driving from the Red Bull driver. He's got a racing point up ahead of him, but that shouldn't affect him too much around these corners. In fact, Calzo does get well out of the way there, and you can just see already everyone's just fighting for the best track position. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple of cars here who maybe don't even get a chance to set a lap because they're all slowing down too much to try and get a lap time. But Decky heading around it now, the two Renaults, 14th and 16th, is not looking good for the current constructors leaders, as Decky now heads towards the finish line, up into 9th position, less than 2 tenths off.
Stendenberg's got pole.
That is a fantastic lap from him, 113.074.
That was out of nowhere.
He's absolutely flown round it. You can just see how close it is at the moment with some of these guys. There's yellow flags, as you can see on the track map, all over the circuit. We are getting down towards the end. Koala is actually going to be the last person across the line to get a lap ready, so he'll be happy that he's actually made it. Is this Eclipse coming around the final corner? Indeed it is. There's the checkered flag, and we'll see what Eclipse can do in the racing point. 7th place.
I'm too sure about that third sector. That third sector was quite poor from him. I think he made a little bit of a mistake through the second to last corner, a little bit of a lock-up. We've got Bugatti coming through the last few corners, and Black Phoenix, his teammate, who's already set a lap. Wonder if he's gone again, actually. Bugatti here really starting to go for it. I didn't really see his sector 2 split there. It's looking alright through here. Sector 3 seems a little bit slow, but I don't really know. Let's see him come across the line. What's he going to get? That's a 13-1, and that's him up to 5th place, but we've got the leaders coming through. Lonnie is the first one, and he sets the pole position time. We've got next, top 6 in the pits. He's invalidated, it looks like. What about Kalsper then? He's coming across the line then, taking a real tight line through the final corner here. DRS open. What's he going to get? It's a 12.9, and what a lap that is from Kalsper, who's got pole position in this race, unless Mez Koala can do anything. And he comes across the line. No, he cannot. And that is pole position once again for the McLaren driver of Kalsper.
Yeah, an ideal start to this race, an ideal start to really get his championship campaign off if he can start with 2 wins out of 2 after taking the victory last time out. And let's not forget, thanks to partners of PSGL Brutal Democracy, the winner of the F3 League, will get themselves £20. And we said before the session, Sam, when we were speaking off air, we thought qualifying the pole position time would be in the high 1 minute 12s, and that's proved to be the case. Carlsberg, only man underneath 1 minute 13, and he's got himself pole position. But again, the closeness of the grid, top 14 drivers separated by half a second.
Well done to Svandenberg and Lonnie, of course. First time in a full-time seat for Svandenberg, and of course, first race of the season for Lonnie, of course, as well. And he's put it on the front row of the grid, so great start from him. And of course, Toxic again, showing that he's got pace, but he just needs to put the performance in the race a bit.
Yeah, very good job though for Carlsberg on pole position. Loney and Vandenberg second and third. Toxic in fourth. So it was a good qualifying for McLaren and a good qualifying for Williams with Bugatti and Black Phoenix on the third row of the grid. Zach is there in seventh. Eclipse 8. Fruitful in ninth. Decky making it 2 Ferraris in the top 10. Chevy 2 we know he's better in the race, and he's got free tyre choice. Let's not count him out from a good point score. And then it's Ginger, Pitmat, Calzo, Koala, Geordie, Simply Rush, and we saw Jesper Barneveld, Lars and Cyril with the qualifying band, so they are going to have to fight their way up from the back of the grid. And this should be a very good race, especially if, like you said, Sam, you never know if there is going to be a bit of rain. Everyone chose to qualify on the soft tyres. Now, I know sometimes when that happens it rains, but as I say that, it looks like beautiful sunshine for now. Can we maybe look past Carlsberg for another win? He looked very good last time around. He was near the front throughout that entire qualifying session. He's just going to hope that he can get a good start and try and control the pace from there.
Yeah, well, Carlsberg will be definitely interested in keeping his lead with the first lap. And of course, you'll have the outside line, which is actually the better line. A lot of people are like, oh, but the inside line is better. But the inside line is more dirtier than the outside line, since you've got the marbles on that line. It shouldn't hinder you too much, but it's all about the start, because you have got a little bit of a long run down to turn one. Not that long, and of course not as long as Mexico down to turn one, but you've definitely got enough to make an impact on that inside to try and get into first place. But Lonnie, he will be looking to get a really good start, and he will be looking to get a better start than the McLaren ahead. He's got to also think behind. He's also got Carlsberg's teammate, and if he doesn't get a poor start, Lonnie, and the same for Svenderberg, you could really see that Carlsberg could try and get Toxic up the positions and perhaps help his teammate out a little bit. But you've also got the two Williams there in 5th and 6th place. Now, you saw these two get 1st and 2nd in F2. That experience of winning, that experience of fighting through the field to get wins will play in their favour. And if they can make up the positions, they could turn out to be really, really dangerous if the guys ahead of them are not careful.
Yeah, we'll have to watch out for the Williams drivers. They've tended to always try and do something a bit different on the strategy. So whether that'll be the case tonight, we'll have to wait and see. There are some of the predicted AWS strategies that they've gone for them. We've got some support here in the chat for Simply Rush as well. We'll have to see what he can do. In 17th position on the grid, on the medium tyres though, is the Mercedes driver. In fact, everyone in the top 10, apart from Geordie, Jesper Barneveld and Lars, has gone for those medium tyres. And of course, we knew the top 10 would be on the softs. And I'm very interested to see how Lars does after finishing second last time around. I think he thought that he definitely had a chance of getting the victory. He's going to have to try and keep it clean as he dives his way through the field. Probably turn 1 to turn 2, the easiest place to overtake on this track, and really your best chance using that DRS after the first couple of laps.
It's very difficult though when you're starting at the back. You've got all these cars to pass ahead of you, and especially around this track, turn 1 does sometimes seem to cause a lot of incidents in many leagues and many divisions already. We're seeing this week there's been a few incidents at turn 1 on the first lap, because every car just goes into that corner, they're all huddled up together. It's similar to turn 1 at Belgium, where you're all huddled up together, and you do sometimes see incidents there in real life as well. So it's going to be difficult for the first corner, and those squeezed to the inside, they've got to be careful with the curbs here. The curbs can be very unsettling to your car here at this track, and there are many examples on this track, in fact, where your car will unsettle if you do hit the curbs. So it would be an interesting start, and Lars just needs to place his car in the right place, and the same with everyone outside the top 10, especially those at the back. Yeah,
so we've got 5 lights here for round 2 of PSGL F3. And we are underway. It looks like a fairly good start, actually, from Loney up near the front of the grid. You can see Carlsberg going across to cover that move, but he's not been able to do so this time. Well, he actually has covered it off. You've got Sandenberg trying to go all the way around the outside as well. So Toxic there. He slots into 4th place, but Carlsberg still in the lead of this race for now. Then it is Loney. Toxic has actually got ahead of Van der Brugge. So 2 McLarens in the top 3. We've seen one of the Williams trying to drop back as well, actually behind one of the racing points. So I think that's Eclipse who has actually gained a position there. Apologies for the timing screen. It is a bit complicated at the moment to work out where everyone is, but there we go. Eclipse is up to 6th position. Cherry 2 by gaining a few positions as well early on, and you can see all things will just settle down now. There'll be single file for the rest of this lap, you'd expect, perhaps until we get around to like turn 12. Simply Rush has actually dropped a couple of places there in the Mercedes. Lars moving up as well. Ideal start though for the race leader. He got a nice clean getaway, was able to hold off Loney, and you can see the big gainers there. No one really gaining too many places. A big loser though, Zach, losing 4 positions on the first lap, dropping behind his teammate. And as we head towards the end of lap 1, 1st and 2nd, no change there, but Toxic up into 3rd place. He'll be wanting to put some pressure on Loney to help his teammate out.
Oh, and there's another big winner, and I'll tell you who that another big winner is. That is Cherry Pie. On the medium tyres, he's already up to 9th place, and he looks pretty clear of Decky as well. You've got to think the soft tyres go off very quickly here. We're on lap 2, not lap 3, but lap 3, lap 4 is around the time where the tyres do start to be a little bit more equal here already. So the softs do go off very quickly, and once they're gone, they are gone. They go around lap 6, lap 7, and the mediums should be quicker within an instant. So if Decky and Zach were to get by now, they would be ahead of Cherry Pie early on. But Cherry Pie would be loving this, and as long as he doesn't get into danger, he could be in a really good spot to go on to win this race.
Yeah, we'll have to see how he does. He's just going to want to stay in touch with these guys for now and then pick them off once their tyres start wearing. But the DRS trains will make that a bit harder. Eclipse, though, in 6th place. He's sandwiched between the 2 Williams and just dropped back ever so slightly there. Let's not forget, you've got to be within 1 second of the car ahead at the DRS detection point, which is just as you come before the final corner. So just heading on the entry to turn 14, and it will be allowed to use it next time around. These front 2 though getting away at the moment. Loney's got that gap up to over a second back to Toxic. Now he'll have DRS next time around. He set the fastest lap of the race, then he's wanting to put the pressure on Carlsberg to take the lead early on and just control the pace. As further down the field we're seeing Koala's actually gone for a move on Pitmat and Geordie. That has got the Red Bull up into 14th place. That's really compromised Geordie's line, and Lars on those harder tyres, let's not count him out. He'll be going incredibly long into this race, round the outside at turn 2, on the inside for turn 3, a move you see so often around this circuit, and he's pulled it off perfectly to move himself up into 16th position.
It's a good start from Lars, and obviously get around the outside there, very good move from him, and well placed from both him and Geordie as well. Geordie not obviously being too aggressive and pushing himself into Lars there, being very good with his driving. Same with Lars as well, as he tried to close in on Pitmat there, but Pitmat just struggling a little bit behind Koala, but Koala will not have the DRS on this lap as he slipped out of that from Calzo, so he's going to be the man defending right now from Pitmat and the guys behind. But as you can see there, from that point, there's a massive train up to around 3rd place here. So that's a huge train right there, and I think this is where Cherry Pie would like to get his hands in it dirty a little bit and try and make some moves here as we do see those in. Not enough, but he's gone for it anyway! Oh, was that the best option? I don't know, but he almost got it working, but it didn't work, and he's still in 9th place.
Yeah, he almost made that move stick. He very nearly almost lost part of his front wing as well, and gets a wheel spin coming out of turn 2. That's going to put him under pressure from Decky, thankfully for Cherry Pie at least, before he was not able to get alongside, so he'll just have to settle down for now, cool those tyres down a bit. Let's not forget, once you start sliding, you add extra heat into the tyres. Once you do that, you start sliding a bit more, and it's just a vicious circle, so Cherry Pie might just need to drop off the pace ever so slightly to cool them down. You've seen Jesper Barneveld pick up a penalty for multiple warnings already early on, and Eclipse doing so as well at this moment in time. We've got a yellow flag, and that is Jesper Barneveld, and he has retired from the session. So Haas retirement again. Looks as though his car is able to drive, so hopefully that won't cause a safety car or anything. Hopefully the AI will just get that out of the way. Out in front though, Loney's nearly alongside Karlsberg at the end of lap 4. Nearly got alongside into the final corner there. Karlsberg having to go very defensive very early on here. Will Loney be able to hang it all the way around the outside here into turn 1? And I think Karlsberg's trying to just let him there. Loney runs a bit deep. It's going to be close on the exit to see who comes out ahead. They're still side by side. You can easily go around the outside though at turn 2 here. There's a bit of wheel banging on the side pod, and Karlsberg just about holds on for now. Of course, this is going to slow both of them up, allow Toxic and Vanderburg and that entire queue we've got behind them just to stay in contact.
Well, Vanderburg has actually fallen down a little bit. We've got Ginger and Decky fighting there. I don't know if he's just got me there, Ginger. And this is a sign here that the softs are now going off, and now the mediums are better than the softs. Quick message on Cherry Dupai, just calm down. There's no need to attack Fruitful that much. He'll be coming in this lap or the next lap afterwards, and especially now that we're seeing Black Phoenix pit for the medium tyres, you'll see a lot of these soft tyre drivers try and obviously cover off that, make sure that he doesn't get that advantage on the medium tyres. We have got someone round, it's Geordie, who's gone around in that place. I don't know how you spin there, you can get a little bit of wheel spin off the exit, but no one's coming in on this lap, so no one's defending off Black Phoenix. Black Phoenix now has a lot of free air. We see T1000 Zach do that, but yeah, Cherry Dubai just needs to calm it down, make sure his tyres are in good condition.
Yeah, most definitely. So Black Phoenix was the first person to come into the pit. Zach has done so as well. Loney this time not able to get alongside Karlsberg, so they stay in that place for now, but you can see Toxic and Vanderburg just appearing, and then that long queue behind, although Fruitful is dropping back ever so slightly on those soft tyres at this moment in time. Will Cherry Dubai be able to get close enough to maybe have a go next time around? He might not need to, because you would expect a lot of the field to come in and pit soon. Geordie has come in, obviously replaced his front wing. Just shows that you are able to continue even if you have broken your front wing, and he's out again on the medium tyres, so you would expect him to pit again, but it's always worth carrying on because you never know what could happen. You never know if there'll be an incident that might just cause a safety car bunch to pack up, and you might get lucky and be able to salvage a few points, and they can be all important towards the end of the season. So lap 6 then, on board with Cherry Dubai, currently the lead driver on those medium tyres. It wouldn't be surprising if once again he somehow manages to find a podium in these races, because he always manages to keep it clean, as well as we have the race leader into the pits. Karlsberg coming in at the end of lap 6, Ugatti and Decky in as well.
I'm going to be honest with you, Black Phoenix may jump all of these. He looks very quick on those medium tyres. He's already gained around 2 or 3 seconds on Zach as well. We'll just see there. Has Karlsberg actually come out ahead of Black Phoenix? Yes, he has, but it's going to be close. And he has just about, but look at where Black Phoenix is now. And Black Phoenix on the medium tyres needs to dispatch Karlsberg as soon as possible, because it looks like he's doing a 2-stop. Well, Karlsberg will be going right to the end, so dispatching that hard tyre driver and Karlsberg ahead is crucial now for Black Phoenix, and it looks like it's a little bit of a blip for him. He was hoping he would come out ahead of all the hard drivers, which he will do furthermore for those who are coming in. So unfortunately for Black Phoenix, it's not what he would have wanted, but it's a good position set up for him.
Yeah, it is good for him, so he'll be trying, obviously, on the way down to turn 1 as he gets himself a 3-second time penalty. Just hopped over the curb a bit too much at turn 7, so further up front then. Got a bit of a gap now between Loney and Toxic and Vanderburg, I was about to say, but all 3 of them coming in, and Fruitful, he's the only one who's decided to stay out, so he's going to take the lead of the race. I'm not sure how long he is going to take the lead for, though, because Cherry Dubai is right up behind him. Ginger very close as well. Cherry Dubai then goes to the inside in the Renault, and down the inside. That should be a straightforward overtake for the Renault. He takes the lead here, and Ginger able to get Fruitful on the exit of the corner as well. So Fruitful there really didn't have a choice. He can't make the double stack work on this game, so it was worth just carrying on another lap. Really has compromised his strategy though. And Black Phoenix, as he said, he's now ahead of everyone who has pitted apart from Karlsberg.
He'll be very annoyed with that Fruitful that he's got to go one extra lap there. And look how much time he's losing to these medium runners. He's now got Calzo pressure behind him. But when Cherry 2 Pie made the move, almost in an instant, that Ginger just got the throttle down and was by far quicker than the soft tyre driver in Fruitful. Fruitful's just got no pace anymore. So it was a bit of a mistake. He maybe could have come in a lap earlier. But obviously, it looks like him and his teammate probably aren't in a party or aren't communicating with each other well, and that's compromised Fruitful there. And look how slow he is. He's braking so much earlier, and Calzo has to lock up, so this is not doing Calzo any good. So Fruitful comes into the pits now, but that is not good for him, and he is going to probably lose a lot of time from that compared to the drivers who've already pitted.
Yeah, the good news for Calzo is he did still get DRS off Fruitful, otherwise he could have been under a bit of pressure from Koala. So a new race order then, after everyone has pitted. Cherry 2 Pie in the Renault started in 11th position, as you can see, gained 10 places so far. He's in the lead. Ginger's also got up 10 places. He is in second, and it's Calzo, Koala, Pitmat, Lars on the hard tyres. Let's not forget the Cyril Simply Rush. Black Phoenix, however, while we've been going through the front of the order, Black Phoenix has got ahead of Calsper. That is absolutely crucial for his strategy. He now needs to put his foot down, drive like he's never driven before. 1998, Michael Schumacher had to do 25 seconds ahead of Häkkinen in 18 laps. Black Phoenix is probably going to have to do a similar pace here to have any hope of getting a victory or a good result in this race.
I mean, a good result could be likely. Of course, we've seen incidents in the past, but he's doing a two-stop here. He wouldn't want a safety car to come out. Oh, no, 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 no. But, you know, at the moment, all he needs to do is get away from Calsper. He's doing that. But like I said, he's got to drive his cut right for his life, basically, almost to get probably a really good gap. And maybe a DRS assist would have helped him, but he's not going to get that now, since the driver ahead of him is 9 seconds between them. I wonder if he will catch up to Simply Rush, but I doubt it, really, since they are on the same tyre. But, I mean, with Black Phoenix, he's still 7 tenths ahead, and he's not really gaining on Calsper. In fact, Calsper's closing a little bit. That's obviously the DRS, so he's going to be a little bit under pressure, and with the all being in a train, Black Phoenix isn't going to get away unless he gets that second gap between him and the McLaren behind.
Yeah, it's crucial that he really works those tyres through the second sector to get that 1 second gap up at the moment. Other changes that we saw in the pit stop period. So now Bugatti, he's in, well, in the net 3rd or 4th place. It all depends on Black Phoenix. Vanderbrugge getting ahead of Toxic as well. And Zach's actually managed to work his way up there, being one of the first drivers to pit. So those who pitted early on have definitely gained in that period. Zach is just a bit, though, off that battle for 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, down to 14th position at this moment in time. Further up the field as well, Cherry 2 Pie then still leading this race, still looking nice and calm at the moment, keeping that gap just over half a second, so he should be safe from Ginger on the run down to the DRS zone. That is the same really for all the drivers behind them, all nice and nicely spaced out now. Dirty air is a bit of a bigger effect on this game, so maybe that means they can't get as close as they would like, and maybe that means some of these medium tyre runners, they'll be going for the undercut as well, just to try and gain track position.
Phoenix, still 8 tenths. I mean, the dirty air, like you said, it can be a crucial factor, and all these guys in the DRS with each other, despite having DRS, it will help them, but their engines will continue to get hotter. And if you've just gone on board with Ginger there, through turn 4 there, he was so understeery on the exit, went a little bit wide and was not able to really do as well as what Cherry 2 Pie is. He's got such an advantage over Ginger now, really, but Ginger's just got to keep with him and keep him that DRS and go for whatever move is possible if he can do it. And, well, the DRS and everything, and yeah, they don't go really hand in hand. And obviously you just got to save your ERS really at this point and make sure that you can keep your car on track in a stable condition. Lars right now in 6th place, he's getting closer to Pitmat, he's stuck with him. He's in a really good position right now because he is in a position where he can take those hards to around lap 28 or something like that, or lap 30. He could really charge on the sauce end and do a hard to sauce strategy, which would be interesting to see because the soft tyres go off very easily and very quickly. But with fresh sauce, you will have them extra 2 or 3 laps there before they go off. So I'm wondering to see what Lars can do at the end of this race.
Yes, and if he does go for the softs towards the end, let's not forget that might give him a chance to get in the fastest lap point. No one got that last week in Austria. You only get it if you're in the top 10, and it was Geordie who actually scored the fastest lap this time around. So going for the softs at the end might be worth it for him, because I believe everyone else who was on the hard tyres, which I think that was just Jesper Barneveld actually, and maybe Geordie, they have retired or had an incident, so they've had to change tyres. So Lars doing something completely different to everyone else at the moment, and we will soon start getting to the point where those hard tyres will be better than all the medium tyre runners around them. Black Phoenix has finally got more than a second ahead of Carlsberg, which probably means Carlsberg is going to be a lot more under threat from Loney next time around. Loney with those one lap fresher tyres, so it won't make a massive difference really, but he might be able to push them a bit harder and could probably cope with being in the dirty air a bit more, and he's got quite a bit more VRS, around 25% more than Carlsberg as well. We've seen Loney get close once before. Is he going to try and get down the inside here to really give himself a chance of winning this race? The Simply Rush then comes into the pits after only 12 laps. That is very interesting, and Lars then has gone down the inside at turn 1 on pit map. We caught the tail end of that, and pit map not able to fight back on the run down to turn 2.
Easy for Lonnie, easy pass. He got a way better exit than Carlsberg. He was putting it all towards his exit speed, while it looked like the entry speed is what Carlsberg was doing. He was just hugging the inside, while Lonnie just went right to the outside, almost a much wider line anyway, to get the more straight line speed off the exit. And then with the DRS assist and a little bit of overtake, he's been able to make the move, and he's up to 9th place. And we've got a virtual safety car, and that is a Clips out of the race as well. So he's just at a very interesting place there as well.
Yeah, I wonder if there's been any contact, or he's just touched the grass coming out of turn 3, tried to save it, but in any way, what it means is a virtual safety car. Will we see any of these medium tyre runners then come into the pits and get not quite a free pit stop, more of a buy one get one free pit stop? We'll see here. Is Chevy Tupai deciding to come into the pits? No, he stays out. So most of these medium tyre runners, I think in fact all of them deciding.
Calzo's in.
Calzo and Koala in, and the PSC's ended at the wrong time, but Chevy Tupai has got himself a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car. This might be a terrible 10 seconds for him, because Ginger looks as though he's about to send it down the inside in the Alfa Romeo. There's a bit of contact between the two of them. Chevy Tupai still there. In the end up, he has to give up. We thought Chevy Tupai might even have a chance of winning this race. That has gone well out of the window. He'll have to serve that penalty, so he won't be able to appeal it. He's going to drop a long way down the order. Not ideal for the Renault man whatsoever.
I think he's just forgot about it. He must have his head in his hands. He looked at him on the straight. The reason why Ginger was so close, because he was... Oh, look at him. He's almost losing the car. Ginger, though, he was doing it right. Perhaps Cherry Tupai, just off the exit, he just noticed at last second that he's got to get down the time, and he probably had to stop the car almost, it looked like, on the straight there, but it didn't work out. And yeah, he's got a drive-through penalty, and that's a huge confidence hit there for the Renault driver. And now he's now got to make 2 pit stops, but obviously you don't stop in the drive-through. You've got to make a drive-through and a pit stop on the hard tyres. That's a real damage done there for Cherry Tupai. And Ginger comes into the pits, so does Cherry Tupai.
Yeah, so this will be Cherry Tupai's drive-through penalty, so that puts Lars into the lead of this race, and Black Phoenix will move up into second position. Loney will move up to 3rd. Calzo, that BSC worked out pretty well for him. He's slotted in between the 2 Ferraris in what is currently 11th position, but Cherry Tupai just driving straight through the pit lane. He's going to come out in the middle of all these cars, and that could end up actually holding a few of them up, because they're going to have much better tyres at this point in the race, as he slots just behind Vandenberg for 6th, 7th and 8th place. Toxic has managed to get back ahead of the AlphaTauri as well, so that's a good job from the McLaren. And interestingly, Black Phoenix already, he's not getting away from Loney anywhere near as much as he would have liked to. That gap's hovered around 1.5 seconds, so this 2-stop strategy really doesn't look like it's going to work unless he's on the soft tyres at the end and can go absolutely lightning.
I doubt he'll go on to the soft tyres at the end. He's got to nurse his tyres at least, and well, we've not got to nurse them right now, but if he was to take him another 10 laps, it still wouldn't be enough to put him on the softs, I don't reckon, really, to get the most out of the softs. He'll have to go another set of mediums whenever he next pits, I'm really interested to see what happens with Lars now, because if you look at the gap with the leader, he's now got he will fall right down the field if he was to pit right now, but he's still going to extend that gap, I reckon. We haven't seen Cherry 2 pit yet, and we are expecting Black Phoenix to pit, so it's going to be really interesting to where Lars will come out, and of course he'll possibly be on the soft tyres as well. I think this is an interesting strategy, but if Lars was going to do this strategy, I don't really think this is the track where, you know, the reverse strategy like this is probably the best one to go for. You've got to really make your moves, and this is a track where overtaking is very difficult, but I mean, we've seen drivers get creative, we've seen drivers try for moves, of course, we see it in F2 and F3 in real life, people making unorthodox overtakes, of course, but in F1 obviously it's a little different because the cars are wider, it's more trickier to overtake with the dirty air, but I'm sure Lars is thinking about it, but he just needs to push on those hard tyres now until it is actually feasible to put on the soft tyres to the end and try and go and get the victory here.
Yeah, at the moment, if he pits, he'd come out round about where Pitmat, Civil and Simply Rush are, so a long way down the order. Still, you'd expect it to be at least another 10 laps, possibly more, before he does decide to come into the pit. So he has a 9-second lead at the moment over Black Phoenix, and that gap is staying fairly constant. What isn't staying constant is Loney starting to catch up. Geordie has had another spin that's coming out of turn 5. No real harm done though. No damage, it doesn't look like, on the car. Maybe just worn the tyres out a bit more than he'd like, but he was planning to come in anyway again at some point. Calzo then, fastest lap of the race for him on those hard tyres. He's in 8th position at the moment. 6-lap pressure tyres, then most of those around him, so it'll be interesting to see how he does at the end, because those hards will definitely be second best, as Ginger has managed to get past Koala and Fruitful as well. In fact, I'm not sure if Fruitful's had an incident whatsoever, because he's dropped a long way behind the pair of them. Koala and Ginger still fighting side by side, but thankfully Koala decides to back off, otherwise we may have seen another accident there. He's in 12th, Ginger in 11th place, but I think Calzo, Ginger and Koala, they're going to have to try and fight their way up, and they have got the tyre grip to maybe get a bit closer through the final corner just to get that best possible run onto the pit straight.
Yeah, he's now closing in on Decky, who obviously made his stop much earlier, and he's got much fresher tyres here, Ginger. The hards do take a little bit more time to get into their optimal sort of temperatures, optimal pace. It takes about 3 or 4 laps maybe to do that. He'll be sitting behind, looking to get by the Ferrari. He's 16 seconds behind the leaders, but of course Lars has to pit, and Black Phoenix potentially, or almost but surely, will have to pit again. So that's 2 positions up there for Ginger, but it'll be more damage limitation and trying not to get the penalties. It could work out for a good night for Ginger. He's also got much more tyre grip than these guys. These guys at the end will have much more worn tyres than Ginger, and Ginger just needs to make the moves in the final few laps, and if he can do that, he's maybe looking at potentially a podium here tonight.
Yeah, quite possibly. In fact, Fruitful did have some damage. It wasn't visible to us on his car, but he has had a change of front wing, so he's way down in 17th position. Looks like being another tough race after a promising qualifying for the Alpha Tauri driver. Up front then, 2nd and 3rd position. That gap has really started to come down now. Loney within 6/10 of a second of Black Phoenix, who's still 9 seconds behind. Lars Vanderbrug earns himself a 3-second penalty. We will check some of the penalties as we get onto the final few laps, because that is how Chevy Tupai got himself onto the podium, and Lars is into the pits. That is a lot earlier than we were expecting. He can only go onto the medium tyres now, but they're not going to be in the best of condition towards the end of the race. He's going to have to do himself 17 laps on those medium tyres.
That's an interesting one. I wonder if he'll really do well on those mediums. The mediums are significantly quicker than the hard tyres, but like I said, it's very difficult around this track. And look at it, he's already got traffic ahead of him. If he does get stuck behind the pit mat, that's not what he wants. Side by side, this is not what he wants, Lars. And he's going to slot in ahead of him, so he is happy days for Lars there, and he's got a lot of free air there, and there's only 10-second gap between him and the leaders. If he does get away and can close in on Koala, he could still be a threat in this race, but I mean, hard to mediums. He looked still like he had the excuse me, he had the decent pace at the front there. He could have gone an extra few more laps to get the best out of those medium tyres. However, the tyres do go off on those mediums around 16 laps, so he probably put in terms of optimal for both tyres. He's probably made the best choice there he could.
Yeah, he would. If he's watching the stream, he might be looking closely at how Black Phoenix is doing. He's just about to finish his 14th lap on those medium tyres and still just about keeping Loney behind him for now. Although Loney with the DRS not getting as good of exit off Black Phoenix off that corner, but this looks like it could be a straightforward pass for the Red Bull. DRS assisted down the inside into turn 1. Black Phoenix trying to get the cutback, but he's not got the traction on the exit of the corner. Loney still gets DRS, a double helping from the one detection point, and that is Loney up into the actual race lead, really, for the first time this race now. We'll still be hoping, obviously, Black Phoenix will hold up Calsper a bit, and he might get a bit lucky, because this twisty part of the circuit is very difficult to get an overtake on, but Black Phoenix doing very well at this moment in time to stay in touch. Fruitful now sets the fastest lap of the race, and you can just see Lars is already closing that gap to Koala.
Calsper had a spin through the chicane there, but got a bit too much curb on the first corner on the inside there. As you can see, he's lost the position to Bugatti. This is looking promising for Bugatti. In fact, he needs to really close in that gap though to Black Phoenix and really get in that DRS, and I think Black Phoenix will perhaps try and assist him with that, maybe, as he is on the more worn tyres. They are working as a team, remember, and in fact he's coming into the pits now, and oh my word, he's almost hit the barrier there, Black Phoenix. I'm not sure if he actually did there. He was very close though.
Yeah, he was very close, and in the end he didn't give DRS to his teammate, so Calsper now trying to fight back and get that second position. Is Bugatti able to hold on round the outside? He's just going to get forced over the curve there. Calsper is well within his rights to do that on the inside line. Calsper now retakes that second position, but that slight mistake, you can see he was within DRS range of Loney at one point. It's now a 2-second gap at the head of the field. Bugatti third, Toxic fourth, Black Phoenix coming down in 16th place.
Oh my word, yep. Black Phoenix, not really the strategy. The strategy hasn't worked out well for him. The mediums though look so much quicker than the hards. Koala was all over the place. I felt bad for Lars. Lars is stuck behind him. I was on board with Lars. He's just got so much more traction there. Look at this. What a move this is going to be. Down the inside he goes. Now that was a brilliant move there. And obviously to make it through that corner as well, that's not something you see every day. That is a brilliant move there from the Mercedes driver. Fair play, but Koala was all over the place on that lap. But Lars up to 10th place, and I was sure he was sweep past Decky here, but the medium tyres have so much more grip compared to the hards. It's like the hards just feel awful. So if you can get the moves done, Lars is in really good contention for a really good result here.
Yeah, he moved himself up into the points for that brilliant move through turn 9 that you saw on Koala. There we go, he's now up into 9th place. 7 seconds off the lead, 14 laps to go. It's only half a second a lap, but he's gaining a lot more than that. It's just whether his tyres will be in a good enough condition towards the end. We've seen some last minute punctures already this year in PSGL F3 as Black Phoenix has managed to make his way ahead of Cherry Tube. I am sure when these two were near the front of the field early on in the race, they wouldn't expect to be fighting for 15th and 16th with 14 laps to go, but you never know if they might be able to sneak themselves up into the points, especially Black Phoenix on those medium tyres, when you consider the pace that Lars is showing at this moment in time. The man with the best view though, Loney, still in the lead, still keeping that gap around about 2 seconds. You can just about see Calsper, Bugatti and Toxic, Calzo, Vandenberg. Pretty much now all the way down to Lars is going to have DRS, and this might just make it a bit more tricky for Lars. It's how quickly he can get past these guys. When everyone's got DRS, it makes it a lot harder, but we've already seen if he can pull off an overtake at turn 9, who knows where else the Mercedes might try and just send one down the inside.
You saw Pit Matt go from miles behind and Ginger. Looks like Ginger has got the better exit. Look, here we go again. Fastest lap from Lars, a 16.8. He's lapping much quicker. Look at Ginger looking for a move down the inside on Zach. Doesn't make it work. He must be quite conservative with Lars coming up behind. Black Phoenix as well going quite quick, but look how far he is off the next car. 6.8 seconds. Not what he would like to see. Lars has got 2 cars battling up front there. in front of him though, Zach and Ginger, and Ginger's just battled his way past.
Yeah, Ginger very forceful there, gets his way past Zach, and Lars has gone into the back, and that's damaged his front wing.
That's wing damage.
And that is his chances of getting the victory. I think just gone there, and that just shows he's got all that extra grip. It can be a good thing. And that's just seen when you're too close to the car in front. Zach really had no choice but to brake there. Lars took what is now his normal braking point and just went straight into the back of Zach, and that's probably game over for Lars, possibly even maybe to get any points in this race.
He was having such a brilliant race. I'm actually so sad for him, to be honest. I feel quite bad because he was having such a really good race here, and he had the pace. He shot a brilliant pace, and obviously making the overtakes when they counted there. And now he's down in 9th place with wing damage, and I can't really see him doing much from here, I'm afraid. Without that extra downforce, he could be even in trouble. He's lost the position to Koala, and I think he wouldn't try to go for a switchback move, but that extra downforce that extra downforce that Koala has, he should be able to get through on this track, where the track is, of course, a lot more of a heavy downforce orientated track, so his turn-in has been extremely hindered there. So unfortunately for Lars, he could even lose a single point here, because Pitmat will be closing in, and the more those mediums go as well, it's just not what Lars would have wanted, and I feel quite bad for him, but got to be neutral at the end of the day, and it was just disappointing to see what happened.
Yeah, it's such a shame for Lars, because we could have had a really good end to the race with him moving his way up to the field. He's got that damage, Pitmat 2.5 seconds behind, and you can see Lars has already dropped out of DRS range from Koala, so he's going to try and fight on, I'm guessing now, towards the end, unless he does wait a few more laps to put the soft tyres on and just have a bit of fun for himself in the final few laps. We'll have to wait and see. Decky's coming to the pits in the Ferrari. He's down in 16th, so after a good result last time out when he was in the Mercedes, finishing in the top 5, it's not going the same way this time around. Out in front, Kalsper sort of pulling away from Bugatti now, but not really catching up to Loney. Because he's pulling away from Bugatti, that's really giving Toxic a chance to possibly make it 2 McLarens on the podium by the end.
It will be interesting to see the McLarens look on it this race. The Renault's not so much, so it looks like McLaren could be taking a stern lead in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes would have been on for it if it were for what happened to Lars, but yeah, good points though for the Williams team, it looks like. Bugatti delivering the points home at the moment. I wonder what Black Phoenix could do now towards the end of the race, but Toxic and Kalsper playing a really good team game here in the McLarens, and they're looking for a double podium, like you said. If that does happen, that could be really crucial in the Constructors' Championship hopes.
Yeah, most definitely. They did pretty well working together in the pre-season race as well. They were very quick throughout that race, which Will, who's now moved into F2, ended up winning. Bugatti's just going to manage to stay in DRS range, and he's actually be able to pull a bit of a gap over Toxic, who I think just made a slight mistake there coming through turn 5 about a minute ago, and that allowed Calzo to get closer. So they're all sort of spaced out now in this top 9 or top 8 who are in the queue. From Kalsper down to Koala, have all got that DRS at this moment in time. 10 laps to go. Loney's got the gap up to 3 seconds, and I will check the penalties a bit later on, because I know he's got at least one, and I can't remember seeing any pop up for Kalsper, but this is going to be very interesting indeed. Lars has decided to stay out still, and he's now got Pitmat closing up to the back of him. I don't think it'll be too long. You can just see in the background there Black Phoenix closing up. He just might make this 2-stop work and get himself a couple of points here.
Yeah, you saw how quick the medium tyres compared to the hards were through Lars, and he is closing slightly on Sidney Rush, but I don't think he'll get it. Pitmat, Pitmat as well, looking to get into the points. Obviously Lars now is really struggling with that turn-in around this track. Sector 2 is an absolute age for him to get through, especially these corners as well, where they're long left and right-handers. That turn is just not going to work for him. You were talking about penalties. Lonnie's got 6 seconds of penalties, and Kalsper's 1 warning away from 3 penalties. So if Kalsper just keeps it clean right now and doesn't pick up another warning, then it looks like it is his race again. If he does pick up a penalty, I wonder if Bugatti could potentially challenge that. Bugatti's got no penalties but has 2 warnings. So that would be interesting. If you see that, Toxic's just made a move. What about Toxic? What's he on at the moment coming into the final laps? He's got a penalty already, so out the equation for him at the moment. But it could be a 1-2 if for the McLarens, but it could also be a win for Bugatti or Kalsper, depending on where the drivers are at the end of the race compared to Lonnie.
Yeah, maybe that's why Lonnie's decided to just go for it a bit more, because he's got that gap above 3 seconds, so if Kalsper does pick up another warning as Toxic there, he's got himself another warning, so that's going to slightly ruin his chances. Kalsper, let's not forget, 1 warning away then, with 9 laps to go here. We just saw Pitmat managing to get ahead of Lars, and Lars now has his teammates Simply Rush all over the back of him. It's been a very quiet race from Simply Rush, but you never know, he might just still manage to sneak a point on his debut as a reserve this season. But with Cyril behind him and Black Phoenix getting ever closer, it's going to be very tough for him. Only 2 retirements so far in this race as Lars does go in the pits, and I think he is just going to go put the soft tyres down, just see what sort of pace he can do towards the end of this race and probably get the fastest lap.
Yeah, he'll steal it away. That's a valuable point stolen. You don't get any points, so for the fastest lap, if you are outside the top 10, no one gets the fastest lap point at that point. So Lars just looking to steal it away from everyone inside the top 10. So maybe being a little greedy, but obviously just wants to see where his pace is at and what pace he can set on those soft tyres. And we look at Lonnie, 3.1 second gap. I want to see what it is to Bugatti though. It's 4.8, so there's no real gains through that at the moment. So Bugatti at the moment could be on course to win this race. This is if Kalsper, of course, picks up a penalty. So Kalsper at the moment is in the driving seat to win this race, and Bugatti is in the driving seat to finish second here. So what about Calzo? Could he finish third?
He could do. I was just about to say, he's really closed up to the back of Bugatti, who seems to be struggling a bit more than some of these other drivers. He has dropped nearly a second behind Toxic. He'll just about stay within DRS range, as Toxic just about stays within DRS range. Bugatti going very deep there into the final corner. That just allows him to straighten up his exit zone, give him a bit of straight line advantage just to help him defend from Calzo. As you can see, even though he's got that double slipstream, well, triple slipstream really, if you count Kalsper not too far ahead, not able to catch up at this moment in time. Let's go right back to the back of the field then. 30th position, which is now 12th position for Black Phoenix. He sends one down the inside of Cyril there, so still very possible here that Black Phoenix is going to pick up at least 1 point. Maybe he's going to run out of laps probably to catch up to Koala now, and probably run out of tyre grip as well. Geordie's also coming to the pits and put the soft tyres on. He got the fastest lap next time around. He might have no points, but he's definitely got a chance of getting 2 fastest laps here as Black Phoenix just loses the rear of the car there. And Cyril is going to try and go around the outside, but not really possible there into that chicane. So Phoenix definitely pushing to try and get some points here. And Loney looks as though he's just pushing a bit more on this lap. He's extended that gap to 3.6 seconds now, so a net 2.4 behind Kalsper. This could get very close towards the end of the race.
Yeah, he's probably getting updates from his race engineer, of course, Jeff, as we all know him as in the game. He's probably asking about the driver behind being Kalsper and what penalties he's got. Lonnie knows that he's got 6 penalties, and right now, if I'm correct, Kalsper's got none, which means that Lonnie is actually in danger of not winning this race, and Kalsper's in the driving seat. We'll need to keep up to date with that, but right now, this is Kalsper's race to lose at the moment, because I cannot see Lonnie getting 2.5 seconds clear when Kalsper's just got to keep up his pace.
Yeah, we just saw the tail end of a battle there between Ginger and Vandenberg. We just saw quickly Ginger's driver putting his hand out the car, so wasn't happy with something, but he's up into 6th position in the Alfa Romeo. We finished 7th last time out. It definitely looks like it's a solid driver who's going to pick up a lot of points for the Faenza-based team so far this season, although that battle does mean they have dropped back ever so slightly from Calzo and his teammate there, just picking up a penalty as Lars did set the fastest lap of the race. And Loney, he is definitely pushing indeed. He's just got them 1 lap extra fresher tyres. Let's not forget, Kalsper spent a bit more time stuck in the dirty air perhaps of Black Phoenix. I wonder if he's just pushed a bit too hard and has worn out his tyres, because he's really struggling all of a sudden. Could Toxic even manage to get ahead of him on track?
His lines are very off-putting there. His car didn't seem very good in the last lap. Just look at this lap, he's locking up at a lot of places as well, and he's starting to struggle to get on the throttle. I wonder if Lonnie's going to experience the same thing now, because the tyres, on those hard tyres, they're now starting to fall off a little bit more. As you can see, no real more time lost there between the two of them, but we'll just see through here. Lonnie, how's he doing? Oh, Lonnie doing the same, and Lonnie has lost the car a little bit. What about Kausper? This is Kausper's gain, and yes, he has. Look at that. He's made it back to 3.6 seconds. Lonnie made a big mistake by going on the white curb at turn 5, and that's compromised him a lot. He's got another 3-second penalty here, so if Kausper, all Kausper has to do really now is keep it on the track and not let Black Phoenix pass. So not Black Phoenix, Bugatti pass. So Bugatti gets past Toxic. Kausper could be in a whole heap of trouble, really, as he's got a Williams looking for his first win of the season.
Yeah, this could get very, very interesting towards the end. I was about to say Calzo might even have a chance, but he's made a slight mistake and got behind Ginger and Vanderburg. And Ginger now, he's the head guy of those who started on a slightly different strategy. He started on those medium tyres, so his hard tyres, 7 lap fresher than the leader, 8 lap fresher than some of the others, as Calzo trying to go round the inside. On the outside, sorry, at turn 1 on Vanderburg, who's still trying to keep his car in there, just not got the throttle, not got the traction at the moment to try and keep that position. So Vanderburg down into 7th, but he should be able to hold off Zach. Koala's began to catch these guys up as well. Black Phoenix is actually still down in 12th place, still behind Simply Much, is doing a fantastic job of holding him off for now on those older tyres, but you imagine those mediums have peaked at this moment in time. So it looks like Kausper is going to be the victor if he keeps it on track. And we are seeing, though, a few drivers are starting to struggle with the Hungary. Does use the tyres quite a lot, and it will be quite hot, I imagine. Hungary is always usually one of the hottest Grand Prix when it happens in its traditional summer slot. Could we even see another last lap puncture?
Well, we could do, actually. I personally don't want that for the leader, because it'll just take the whole victory away. It'll take the whole celebrations away from the driver who wins this race, really, knowing that he's won it through that. But at the moment, Lonnie seems to be struggling. I looked at turn 4 and the really quick corners he's going through. He cannot get the traction like he used to, and he was going so much slower than Kausper behind there. So Lonnie really starting to struggle on his tyres now. And I'm just look at him through these corners here. This one's fine, not too bad at all, but just watch the next corner. He may struggle through here. Oh, he's got through that nicely there, but last lap he seemed to really struggle through there. And Kausper has made up a little bit of time on him, but right now at the moment, Lonnie just not really gaining any more time, and those tyres look like they've almost had it.
Yeah, in fact, we did see a slight correction again through turn 5. Nowhere near as dramatic as the one on the last lap, but definitely struggling with grip at this moment in time. Kausper just keeping things under control, keeping it nice and clean, and he knows he's just 2 and a bit laps away from taking his 2nd consecutive victory of the season and get another 16 points on the board, and that would be pretty useful for the championship as well. I know it's only early days, but Lars out of the points, Chevy 2 Fly out of the points, Pitmat only currently on to score 1 point. We'll see how penalties move him up and down the order, so that could change quite dramatically. Further back though, as we are onto the penultimate lap of the race, Ginger with his slightly fresher tyres than all these guys, just closing into Bugatti, but because of the DRS train, not able to close in enough to really go for an overtake. With 2 laps to go then, a McLaren victory definitely looks possible as Zach going round the outside of turn 1 on Vanderburg. Vanderburg manages to get ahead. Koala not quite close enough to take a advantage. Is Zach going to be able to stretch it all the way around the outside this time? Not this time around, and Vanderburg holding on for now, though he seems to be struggling with his tyres more than Zach. There's no way are they going to go side by side through turn 4, and the Ferrari quite wisely in the end there decides just to back off. And it's amazing to see Zach with a bit more pace, because he's got 2 lap older tyres than Vanderburg. He's actually got the oldest tyres of anyone, and he spent a lot of time in traffic, so surely if anyone's getting a puncture, it would probably be him. So if he gets to the end, you'd expect some of the others to be safe.
Yeah, it's hard soft strategy in it. I thought Lars was going to go for it. He didn't. So if he was to come in, if if he was to start on these hard tyres, this would have been the lap to really pick for soft tyres, but it's not. But Zach's took them 27 laps. He's got to take them one more lap, it looks like. So hopefully he can get to the end on them, but the tyres are a little bit more unpredictable in this game. They can burst even when you're at 70%. So it's quite difficult, and of course with the heat as well, degradation will be much higher. Ginger sent it down the inside of Bugatti, but Bugatti had it covered nice and easy as Ginger went wide.
Yeah, Ginger is definitely pushing for it, and you can't blame him, so he stays in 5th for now. Koala and Zach were there battling. Koala trying to go sneak his way up the inside, but you've got no chance there at turn 2. Zach had that completely covered, so we are on the final lap of the race, and that gap has really started to come down at the front of the field. Loney now just 3.2 seconds ahead when he needs to be at least 9 seconds ahead to have any chance of crossing the line first and keeping that position, so he could well almost certainly actually going to drop off the podium here, and it looks like this man in the McLaren, Carlsberg, is going to take another victory from pole position after doing such a good job last time around, where I believe he might have won on the penalties as well. I think it might have been Lars who was first across the line, so he keeps it clean, does Carlsberg, and that is always worth it. You don't necessarily have to be the outright fastest over the race distance, because today that was Loney. He heads towards the line. He's going to be first across the line here in F3, but it's going to be Carlsberg who crosses the line and takes the victory. Bugatti goes up into 2nd. Loney, I think, stays in 3rd place. Ginger 4th. Toxic 5th. Calzo 6th. Koala 7th. Pit for 8th. Enozia Civil in 9th. And Deki in 10th position. Cherry Tupai then missing out on the points, and Lars missing out on the points, so a great day for Carlsberg to take the victory when his championship rivals had a bad day, and Bugatti just managing to sneak home in 2nd place, managed to hold off Ginger, and look at that time difference. Ginger less than a 10th of a second off a podium.
Oh, I wonder if that move, or that dive-bombing move on Bugatti has cost him here, because he went for a move on Bugatti and he locked up and went wide, and Bugatti got by him. I wonder if that's cost him, as Lars does cross the line with the quickest time of 14.5 in the race. That's always good, but obviously we had to forget he did obviously set that on on fresh softs there right at the back end of the grid. But yeah, Ginger would be livid with himself that he didn't get part, or he didn't, or if he would be livid with himself that he went for that move on Bugatti, and well, if he didn't do that, it could have been a whole different story, and maybe it would have been podium for Ginger.
Yeah, we can see there Civil being awarded driver of the day by the game. Let's not forget him and his teammate Jesper Barneveld, who retired, and Lars, who finished way down the order, did have a qualifying ban, so he did well to get to the points. That's another selfie from Carlsberg, and it looks like we could be seeing a lot of them this season as he takes his 2nd victory of the season. Bugatti there finishing in 2nd position, and Loney finishing in 1st for both of them. That was their 1st race of the season. So here are the results. Great job from the top 2 to keep it clean. Loney crossed the line 1st, but finishes in 3rd position. Ginger moved up 8 positions there. He finishes in 4th. Great job from the Alfa Romeo. Toxic dropped to 5th. Calzo 6th. Koala 7th. Pitmat, again, he seems to always gain places towards the end of the race on penalties. He is 8th. Cyril 11 places gained in 9th. Deki managing to sneak another point in the Ferrari. He was 10th. Simply Rush just missing out in 11th. Chevy Tupai, bad day for him with that drive-through penalty. What could have been for the Renault driver? He's 12th. Zach dropped to 13th. Black Phoenix, 2-stop strategy really not working for him. Lost 8 places from his starting position. Finished 14th. Vanderburg dropped a long way down at the end. We didn't notice that. 15 seconds of penalties. Qualified 3rd. Finished 15th. Bad day for the Alpha Towers. Was fruitful 16th. Lars was 17th. Geordie, the final finisher. Eclipse and Jesper Barneveld retiring from the race then. And I think what that means is Carlsberg, he's managed to pick up quite a big lead in the championship all of a sudden. He's going to be nearly a race victory ahead already when you consider it was only really Pitmat who scored any points out of those drivers who finished high up last time.
I think he is actually a complete I think he's a complete race win ahead, I think. I'm not 100% sure because Bugatti didn't pick up points. Like you said, Pitmat was the only one really up there that scored points today. Calzo did score a few points, but Pitmat's on 8. He got an extra 3, I think he did. I think he finished 8th. So he'll be on 11. And if that means he's second in the championship, Kausper has, of course, now 32 points here. So that is rather interesting for Kausper. He would be absolutely over the moon with that one being basically a race clear by now, and he'll be hyping himself up, looking to win a few more races this season. And after 2 rounds to be a complete race victory, clear of everyone, he'll be very confident and he'll be fancying his chances so much right now.
Yeah, and again, it was important that he just managed to keep it nice and clean, keep his tyres in good condition, because it did look for a second there that Loney was actually going to be able to pull out the gap, but he just slid a bit through turn 5, got himself another penalty, and from there, Kausper just looked nice and comfortable. And always good to have your teammate just behind you, just to keep that extra bit of a buffer, because you know some of these drivers might go for a late lunge, as we saw Ginger go on Bugatti. So Toxic doing a good sort of rear gunner job, and it looks like McLaren have definitely got a good team partnership going.
Yeah, Toxic and Kausper, they were a part of the same esports team. Of course, they're not now because obviously Toxic left, but they seem to have a really strong bond this season. They seem to be on it together, and they seem to have some sort of togetherness with each other to help each other fly through. And of course, we didn't see Toxic do too well in the race last round, but obviously in qualifying he was quite high up there, and we've seen the teamwork already from those two. They just kept civil with each other. You didn't see Toxic attacking Kausper, even though he had the DRS available to him and possibly the speed as well to attack his teammate, but playing the team game and making sure that Kausper can have that strong lead in the Drivers' Championship. And I think now McLaren have a really, really good strong lead in the Constructors' Championship, considering Renault not really picking up very good points.
Yeah, most definitely. So it was a great job for today from McLaren, especially from Kausper. I think now actually has a 20-point lead in the championship over Lars and Bugatti. So he's looking very good. Heading towards round 3 of the season, which will take place same time, same place next week at the British Grand Prix Silverstone. Make sure not to miss that. If you do want a bit more PSGL action though around Hungary, you can catch the tail end of the F1 race. They're currently heading onto lap 28. It's looking very close there indeed. Top 4 cars separated by just over a second, so you'll have to see whether Danny can get his second consecutive win of the season in a McLaren as well. So it looks like the McLarens are doing pretty well, as they say, here in PSGL. And let's not forget there's Formula Performance as well, the final race around Hungary tomorrow night at 8. But for myself and Sam, we'll see you guys next time around for some more F3 action. Will Kausper be able to make it 3 out of 3 at the British Grand Prix? There's only one way to find out, and that is to tune in next Monday at 8 PM. Good night.